For 6 of the 8 base inverts, you will use a progressive edge to create line tension. This line tension or load on the line is what is used to catapult you in the air to rotate. Much like a catapult, you pull it back and you release it forward. These base inverts are called load and release inverts.
The first thing that I'd like to talk about before we actually get into the 8 base inverts is loading and releasing. And this is a skill that you need to learn to actually be able to catapult yourself into the air on a wakeboard. Basically what you're doing is you're putting a lot of line tension on the rope and a lot of pressure on your edge to create a sweeping motion that actually projects you upward in the air and sweeps your body into a rotation at the same time. Basically you have water pushing on your board hard enough to sweep the board out from underneath you, and the line is tight enough to actually yank your body forward, and this creates the flipping motion. If you think about it, if you relate it to a catapult, when you pull it back and release it forward, the catapult actually travels upward before it actually moves forward. And that's kind of what you want to do with your body. You want to lean back with your shoulders like you would with a catapult, and then actually release it forward so your body is casted upward into the air, then forward into the rotation. As you can see here, I lean back with my shoulders to create a lot of line tension and pressure on my edge, and then I release it and let my body come forward into the flip. But at the same time, my body is actually traveling upward and the rope is pulling me forward, while the water is pushing the board out from underneath me and sweeping it backwards into the rotation. You lead your rotation with your head and shoulders, and that's what distinguishes the trick you're going to do in the load and release family. A good way to learn this technique is to take the wake out of the picture. So what you could do is you can actually edge outside the wakes and slow the boat down about 3 miles per hour slower than normal. From there you're going to bounce on the rope and get the bungee effect on the rope. Basically you're going to do this with a tall position, and you're just going to lean back with your shoulders and let the rope actually pull you forward, and you're going to do this back and forth. And it's just a little bouncing motion that gives you, the catapult motion that you're going to use to do the flips. Taking the wake out of the picture really lets the rider know how the skill works and how, wakeboarding really works. Each one of the load and release families have the same exact motion when you're loading up the line and releasing the trick. You're going to load the trick back, and then you're going to release your upper body forward towards the boat. As you're coming forward, that's when you distinguish the rotation by rotating your head and shoulders, depending on what rotation you're going to do. From left to right, you have each of the families: back roll, front flip, and railie. Each trick has the same exact motion at first. You load back, you release forward, then direct the rotation with your head and shoulders.